In today's market review, we're going to look at the apartment condo market. We're talking about low-rise and high-rise apartment condominiums downtown and all around the city.
To help make our stats a little bit more relevant to you, I'm going to divide up the city into different quadrants. We're going to do the inner city, the northwest section, the southwest, and what we're talking is west of Sarcee, because we would consider anything east of Sarcee to be inner city. The deep south, which would be Fish Creek, Chaparral, Mahogany, all of these south areas. And lastly, we'll do the northeast. At the end of the video, we'll go over the whole market so you can compare how your numbers match up with the overall. Okay, so in May we had 297 sold apartment-style condos. One of them was pretty high-end at 1.2 million. Our average sale price per square foot was $402 a foot sold. Those average numbers are selling in 33 days. But the median, that's where most buyers are, at about the 335 mark, and the property is listed at 339. So they're selling very close to the asking price. Now, if I want to compare that to last month in April, we look at 271 sales, a little bit less sales, and the average was $406 a foot, a little bit higher. And even so, we had a high sale in that period, so that didn't even raise our square footage price, which means that the median price is, let's just say that our prices are down just slightly from what's sold in April. Kind of surprising, but not really that much. Now we look at the average sale price, $355 for April, and the median was $329 in April. So yeah, we definitely we're up on our average sale price from the last month, but we're down on a square footage price. What that means is that people bought a little bit bigger properties, okay? And it looks like that's exactly the case here. So the higher end properties sold, but they sold for less per square foot slightly. And the average sale price is a little bit higher, but the price per square foot's lower, which means that most times when you look at condominiums, generally the larger the condominium is, the less it sells the less the price is per square foot. Okay, so in May of last year we had 235 sales in the same time period, so sales definitely more this year, and those were on average priced at 375 to 382. So our prices are definitely up. Our average sale price was 358, surprisingly, but it was probably this $2.8 million sale that might have changed our averages a bit. But because our sales price per square foot was quite a bit lower, days on market is about the same, and they're all buying about the same size units. So we look at what's happening now. What's our active supply? So we actually have over a 2-month supply of properties available when you look at that. So, and when we see what the properties are on the market for, they're the larger properties available at a $458 a square foot, and the median is at $444. So the buyers are looking for condos priced around in the inner city, priced at, from $339 to $358 for the most part, and the seller, most of the inventory is 1,000 feet, and it's priced much higher. So some of these properties may have difficulty selling because, of course, they're well above the price per square foot where the buyers are really at. So now we'll move on to the northwest section. Okay, 52 sold listings in the northwest for apartment-style condominiums, and they were average sale price at $274, and the median price was $264. Now, when you look at the price per square foot, $309 to $310, about that range, and we look at what happened in April, we had 57 sales. So we actually had more sales in April, and those were priced slightly lower per square foot, so they sold for less money per square foot, and the average sale price was also a little bit lower. And they were about the same size properties. Now we look at May of 2013, there are 55 sales, so all these numbers are fairly close. But those sales prices per square foot, people are paying more than they were last year at $277 a foot on average and $272 per square foot on the median price. They're also expecting to find these properties priced at about $259 last year, and now they're at $279. So we've got an increase of about $10,000, and the median group has actually increased even more than that. So where most people are looking, we're looking last year for a condo at 249. Be prepared, because this year it's going to be around 270 for the same kind of property. Now, when you think about inventory supply, we've got about a 2-month supply there, which means that 106 listings and 52 sold, and those are primarily priced at 321, and their list prices on average are 279 and 269 on the medium. So the condominiums in the Northwest are priced right where people are really kind of expecting them to be. So there's not a lot of high-priced inventory or inventory that's way out of range as far as the price is concerned. Now we're going to move to the southwest section. We're talking west of Sarcee, Aspen, these areas, Signal Hill, and so forth. Okay, so 36 sales out there in the southwest for apartment condos, and those were an average of $318,000 they were listed at, and sold for $313, and they sold for $322 a square foot, and they sold in 40 days. Not real fast, okay? And the median price group sold for a little bit higher price per square foot. It was a little bit smaller, and they sold for $323. Now, when we look at how it was in April, we sold 31 listings then, and we sold them the higher price per square foot, $331 on average, but on the median price was actually slightly lower, where most people were buying. They were looking at properties that were at 309 and buying at 305, and these were 910 square feet. So this all correlates with each other. And the reason why I say that is that when you look at small condos, the smaller they get, the more they sell per square foot. And so that, this is 910 square feet as opposed to 957. So as you go up, the value gets a little bit better. Now, comparing that to last year, just 19 sales in the same time period, and those were at 299 a square foot, or 273,000 on average, and 255. So we are already looking, anything that was below 300 is now looking to be above 300. So there's a big change in what's happened, and the price per square foot is up substantially. But we look at the median last year at 324, and that was pretty high actually. So where most people bought was, geez, these are such strange numbers to be going together, but it looks to me like 200. There were smaller units, priced less, but sold more per square foot. Just kind of a strange mix there. So there's probably a listing in that particular mix that changed the median price. So when we look at what's available now, we have almost a 2-month supply. So for buyers, it's still pretty easy market to buy in, and those are priced in at 330 a square foot, and they're asking 329. So pretty much in the same price group. But most of the units that are left over, hey, they're a little bit bigger than what was sold. So on average, it's 1,000 feet, and median was 918, which was where most people are buying. So this price is it's a full over $10 a square foot higher than what's sold. But just look at this here. The average list price is $294. So these are smaller units priced a little bit higher per square foot. So I would imagine out there that these are a lot of newer units that are smaller and priced higher. And now we'll move to the Deep South. Evergreen, Silverado, Cranston, McKenzie-Towne, all these south areas. Okay, so going on to the Deep South, 78 sold listings in May, and those were sold at 260,000 at 303 a square foot, and they were 870 square feet on average. And when you look at what happened in April, we actually had 65 sales. So sales are up for May from April, and we sold them also for more per square foot, and than we did. Looks like they, again, this is kind of a strange anomaly here we've got, but $272, 272,000 was the average sale price at 296 last month. And this month, the average sale price was less, but when it comes to the price per square foot, buyers are paying more. They're also looking this month at homes, so they are really looking for smaller properties. So that's what's left on the market. Higher price per square foot and lower priced properties and smaller properties. And compare that to last year, 62 sales, which is very close to last April. That's for 2013 as far as May is concerned. We're up a full almost $20 a square foot, or even 15 on the median price, somewhere around that number. And people were last year were looking at homes that were on average priced at 249. This year it's the same. And as you can see, it's the same as it was, and they're paying about 241 this year, 246, last year 241, and 276 a square foot. That means that now we've got probably new inventory, I would imagine, down there that's smaller than what sold last year. Last year, the average or the median square footage was 919. So interesting what's happening. Condos are getting smaller. So when you look at the June supply, we've got 116 condos available, and so we still have a reasonable inventory for buyers if you're buying a condo. And these were selling in 29 days, and we look at what's available now. They're all priced about 325, but the median group is priced at 316, well above where the buyers were looking to buy at 297. So we also, in most of these condominiums, almost the same square footage where most people would be buying the median group, but what's left on the market is 263 compared to where the buyers were looking at 249, and they were buying for 246. So when we look at this, looks like what's remaining on the market, sellers are increasing their pricing a little bit. And it has to do with the fact that people have that hysteria, thinking that the market's great, and they're raising their prices a little bit. But I think unbeknownst to some sellers is that the amount of inventory is not slim. We still have over a month of inventory, which means that for buyers, they still have a lot of things to look at. And next we'll look at the northeast section of the city. Okay, so in the month of May, in the Northeast, we had 32 sold listings, and those sold at the average list prices were $216,000, and they sold for $209,000, and they were selling for $271 a square foot in about 33 days. Now, if we compare that to last month in April, 27 sold listings, and they sold less per square foot, $262. And that's almost $10. So they are selling higher this month than they were last month, and the average sale price is actually lower. So what that could mean is that exactly what I'm thinking here is that the units that are currently available and selling right now this month are smaller, and that means that's why the average price per square foot is higher. And that's usually how that works. Now we look at what happened in May of 2013. People were buying properties down there, apartment style condos, for $223 a foot, and they were looking for property at $192. Now they're seeing them about actually smaller units, like 850 square feet on average. Now they're buying properties that are $782, and they're looking at, spending another $26,000 on average. So that's quite a bit, or $25,000 anyway. So the market's definitely up. People have got to be just a little bit more pragmatic this year about buying properties. And now we look at even the price per square foot. That's almost $50 a foot higher, and quite a bit more on the median price too. So people are definitely paying more now than they were last year. Now let's look at what we got for inventory. So we've got 64 properties, just double. So we got 2 months supply. So there's still a good amount of properties for people to look at, for buyers to look at. Those properties are a little bit bigger than the ones that sold last month, but they're also priced $288 a square foot. And buyers were looking for properties around $216, and now they're finding they're having to look at them at $227. So if you were unhappy with how the selection of properties were on the market last month, you'll like it less this month, it looks like. Okay, so here's our overall inventory and what it looks like for the city. Below 150, last month we had 4 sales and we got 9 available. 150 to 200, we got 47 sales last month and 55 currently available. And we've got a good amount of condos available between 200 and 250. We sold 153, we got 272. So you should be able to find If you're a buyer, you should be able to find a condo. There isn't an oversupply situation. Around the 300 to 350, it gets a little bit tighter, meaning that there's not so many to look at. This is, we didn't sell more than, of course, last month than we got available, but this is pretty close. And so is 300 to 350 to 400. But in every price group, we've got more available than sold the previous month, which is not like single family homes in that market. So you can definitely see that we've got a good amount of inventory for you to look at.
Realize that the market news I've just given you is based on the whole market. There's a whole other study we can do on the area that you're looking to buy or sell in. Your area may not move according to the whole market, and realize that average sale prices don't mean that a specific home would go up that percentage based on the whole market. Average sale prices sometimes mean that people are buying more expensive homes. Back when I started selling real estate, over 90% of the homes I sold were expired listings or homes that other agents couldn't sell. During that time, I learned from my clients the many frustrations that they had selling their homes.
Yeah, we had the home about, twice with some other agencies, and they couldn't sell the house. We don't know why. It's a beautiful house.
There was not any interest shown at all in our home by anybody that came and viewed it.
Too many of the other MLS realtors who'd come and show the house, they wouldn't have a clue.
We didn't get any feedback on our showing.
Last time our house was in the market about 3 months, and we've never got any offers.
It's for these reasons I have a very detailed approach on the way I sell my clients' homes. But here's what my clients had to say.
So we tried to put our townhouse up for sale October of last year, and it just wasn't selling, you could say. We had some show homes in the beginning of October, and a lot of people came, but no one really made a really decent offer, and we weren't getting any feedback. After the last 2 months, November and December, we had no showings, no one was coming, and we weren't really hearing from our real estate agent anymore. So come January, a friend of the family told us about Trent and how that he had helped them sell their house, and
Don't forget how we got that in the mail.
And how we got in the mail a pamphlet that said, guaranteed we can sell your home. In which case, we both decided we'd call Trent.
And give Trent a call. And Trent came in the very first day that he came to see us, and he said, well, let's look at the market. Let's see where we're sitting at in the market, and let's make a plan of how we're going to put this up so that it's more appealing than everything else in the market, in that kind of zone that people are looking for houses, in that price range, in that category, being a townhouse. And basically what ended up happening was, as soon as the house went up, exactly what we had predicted with Trent was going to happen, happened. And in a very, very short period of time,
It was like one day?
I think it was one day.
Yeah.
We had an offer the first day and took it. Trent gave us extremely knowledgeable advice on how to deal with the initial lower offer, and it resulted in us maintaining a lot more of our value in our house.
One of the things that I noticed was really nice about how our house sold was that there was a video that was taken for YouTube, and when we went to go see it, we fell in love with our home again, not to lie. It just, It put our home in a light where you wanted to live in it. It talked about, the great things that we loved about our home when we first walked in. Just 2 blocks down, there's another house for sale that didn't have that quality of videoing, and it didn't show the aspects of the home which we fell in love with, which we found that other people did. And watching the video, you realize that we boosted so much more of our traffic coming into the house. People who were looking at it, they already were interested before they even showed up. And right away, just from the first day, we had 3 or 4 people walk through that all wanted to make offers. And assuming if we wanted to stay on the market longer, we could have easily sold the house
five, six
times over.
Well, I think what the commercial does versus just having an MLS listing with pictures and then someone has to call and then come and see it is it takes the same thing that companies do, but he does it for you on an individual basis. Companies, when they want to sell something, you see it on the commercial while you're watching the NHL playoffs or something, and you go, this is awesome, I want it. And that's exactly what his commercial does. You see it and boom, you want it.
We had our home listed for 4 months in the fall, and it just didn't sell. We had a little interest at first, but then it just died down. After the new year, we got some information in the mail from Trent, and he was able to show us the advantages of video marketing, and he showed off our home to its best advantage. You know, it's not a show home, it's not a new home, but it's a comfortable home. And he was able to show that and get that information out to lots of people. And we had so many showings. We had, 1 or 2 showings a day. Some days we had so many showings we weren't even able to come home for meals. There was that much interest in our home. Another thing Trent was able to show us was that the market was actually good in November when we had our home listed before, and that was when there was no interest shown in ours. And there were homes selling in this neighborhood for actually less than what we got for ours just this past week. We sold it in about 4 weeks with Trent, and we're really excited to be, we got a price that we're happy with, and moving on.
This is just 2 examples, but in 13 years of marketing homes, I've got hundreds of examples of turnaround situations. High and low-end homes, fixer-uppers, show homes. I've marketed a home just like yours. So call me today for a low-pressure interview to discuss the sale of your home.